from my dad being a drummer. He's still a drummer. He's still doing gigs up north and doing rock and roll, and you know, and he's nearly touching 70 now, my dad. You know, so but I was around it as a kid. He was like a hip rock and roll drummer back in the 70s. So I'd go to gigs, and you know, I think my mum said I used to kick in her belly while she was pregnant, while she was watching my dad playing. So she always knew I'd be a drummer. You know. So yeah, and the thing is, at school, you know, it was hard to concentrate at school because I had ADHD, so the concentration. But all I could concentrate was thinking about going home and practicing drums, which kept my dad happy, honestly. Yeah. Well, it didn't change that quickly, actually. What changed is I was up north, and you know, I was doing a few gigs, and I was just a little bit like, I wouldn't say depressed, I was like, no, you know, I need to go to London. All of a sudden I just ended up going, and I joined a band, because it's hard when you come to a big city and you don't have anything and you have to like pay your rent, so you end up working 2 or 3 jobs to pay your rent, and then you don't end up doing what you originally came to do, is music, you know. So it's good to sometimes come to the big city to something, or a few little gigs where you can cover your rent, you know, at least you're doing what you want. Well, I joined a band, so we used to like go and do gigs to pay the rent, and so I was doing music, which was amazing, you know. So, and I did the band for about 5 or 6 years, until then I did my first gig was Amy Winehouse, which I'd just done a covers gig the night before, and I was like, yeah, you know, I know Amy and stuff, and he was like, all right, cool. And the next day he said, do you want to do a TV show with her? And I was just like, yeah, man. That was I was in, you know what I mean. So it's like who you meet out of. Well, Amy and her friends used to come and watch my band, which I told you about, which we used to. And one night I was just hanging out with Amy, because the bass player of the band was, he liked her friends, so I used to hang out with Amy, and we used to just talk, and it was, I said, so what do you do, Amy? And she was like, I'm a singer, you know, I'm a songwriter. I said, all right, cool, so you doing much? She said, oh, I've got a few bits. I said, all right, cool. Well, the next week, I'm watching the TV, Jules Holland, the big English, and next minute Amy Winehouse has come on, playing Stronger Than Me, and I was like, no, that's the. So the next time I see her, I said, now then, I said, you're not just a singer-songwriter. I said, I saw you on TV the other week. She went, well, you know, it's just that. She was so humble.
Really?
Yeah, beautiful personality, great. So I was friends with her before she actually made it big, so. You know, when she made it big, she was still exactly the same person. She was very cool. She used to open the tour bus door and say, you guys want a cup of tea or coffee? Like, you know, she was a lovely woman, man. She was cool, you know, and she liked to hang out as well, you know. But I miss her, man. She was a good spirit, Amy. My band, the PB Underground, is something I've been working on the last sort of 3-4 years. It started off with me just getting some free time in the studio and just putting all my favourite musicians and friends in one place at one time, some horns and blah blah blah, and I just said, guys, you know, I want to do this sort of like young Tower of Power, you know, because I loved funk and Tower of Power, and we just did some instrumentals, and that's how it started. And obviously 3-4 years later is, you know, I've got an EP out called Drums at the Front.
Okay.
Yeah, Drums at the Front. It's great for drummers. Yeah. And it's basically a cross between, like, you can hear all the old influences, like, you know, the Phil Collins with the Phoenix horns, the Earth, Wind and Fire, you know, Stevie Wonder, and I've featured different singers on it. So it's kind of like I'm coming from the same perspective as what Mark Ronson did. He had his own thing going, and he featured different singers. So it's kind of, it's really cool now. You know, we're selling out shows in London, and you know, it's a serious lineup. Do you know what I mean? So, but it's a big band, and it's sometimes quite hard to get a lot of gigs when you're not fully known yet. But it's getting to that point now, which is really good. We started getting festivals and stuff, and, which is nice. So it's exciting, yeah. And I make all my music here, which is brilliant. So. Well, that's been a problem quite a lot, actually. Is when you're playing funk or soul, and you've got a drummer smashing the shit out of the kit behind you. The singer tends to go, "What are you doing, man? Come on, man, play quiet." So, you know, and also what I've learned from recording over the last sort of 5 years, and having your own studio, which is great. You know, you get your own studio, record yourself, because it doesn't lie. That tells you exactly what you sound like. So, recording. Drums and playing soul music and funk, playing quieter is the key, man. Because
Really?
it's like, yeah, if you listen to the old records and all that, I mean, the tones in the drums even from like hitting your bass drum, because I was in this technique with hitting this bass drum and holding it, and then
the sound.
yeah, and then you'd hear it back and you get this, because of the so I had to change my technique to recording so the bass drum and the quieter you play, man, the sweeter the sounds of the drums, you know. So there's a reason why he's doing like that, because it's just back in the day the sounds of the kits, and it's just, I think drummers just play quieter now, and now obviously drumming's progressed and it's moved on and it's in the future now. It's like there's the whole gospel side of drumming where they're playing hard and energy, and so this is, for me, it's a bit of both, and especially playing with Level 42, it's like it's a heavy duty drumming gig, and Mark King, the boss man, he wants me to smack the shit out of the drums, so you know, so I'm like, okay, but the older I get now, the quieter I want to play, you know? You know, but that's just my thing. But I reckon in the studio I've changed my approach to what the track wants. So if the track wants a big fat bass drum and a big deep snare and some big 16-inch hi-hats, I get on there and I just lay it down, man, you know, to be different to what I do on a gig. So yeah. We've done it started about 3 or 4 years ago, and she just she had one show, and then she put the band together. But it was her MD, Michael Gschoesser, and her BVs that came. The drummer didn't come for some visa reason or something. So then I literally had 2 days to learn the stuff. And you know, I mean, it's not as if we don't know Ain't Nobody, and you know, I Feel For You. I mean, they're great songs, you know. So I knew the set anyway. It was just learning the live arrangements, which were pretty sick, to be honest, because Andrew Boucher is a monster, and it was just like stabs, you know, all this sort of stuff, which is great for a drummer, because it's just like so that was the first show we did with her. Then she came over and did some more gigs, which is what I did, and some of the guys in Incognito was in the band as well, so it was a bit of a close, because she sang on the Incognito record. So every time she comes over now, you know, I get the call, which is nice, because I you know, she's a legend, and she's a lovely person as well, you know. You know, when I see it, she's like, Petey, you know, it's nice, cool. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it's gonna be cool. Listen to now.
Yeah.
I don't really listen to that much drumming music now. I just, you know, I'm in a different headspace now. I mean, drumming is 40% of what I do now. It's just like the other rest is in the studio. I'm writing and producing, which is what I love as well. But back in the day, it was the three, man. It was Dave Weckl, Dennis Chambers, or Vinny. Yeah. You know, it was them. But then, obviously, Steve Gadd was a massive influence. You know, Jeff Porcaro, God bless his soul, him as well. You know, but then you look back a little bit further, and then you got Tony Williams, which is I picked up on these guys a little bit later. You know, it's like who's hip at the time? All right, it's Dave Weckl. Blah, blah, blah. And then you go, all right, Dave Weckl. I think everyone sort of rinsed Dave Weckl in the 80s, and you know. But then I started looking back, and then you got you know, Lenny White, who did A Return of Forever. I mean, that guy is just like, listen to the shit now he does, and it's still wicked, man, because I can hear like him in Ronald Bruner's playing. You know what I mean? And Ronald is, for me, is the best right now. There's no one to touch him, you know what I mean? And he knows that. So, but you know, I'm inspired by Ron every time. If I just need a bit of inspiration on drum, I just put his YouTube clips on and just think, right, shall I pack drumming in, or shall I, you know what I mean? Or shall I carry on? I think Ronald played with Chaka, actually. Yeah, because last time Chaka come over, Ronald was her drummer. So I depped for Ronald Bruner. Oh, okay. Yeah. But it's cool, man. He's one of my mates, so we speak every now and again, you know. But yeah, you know, like back in the day, Tony Williams, you know, Billy Cobham, you know, Lenny White, have some great stuff. I forget the drummer. He was on the Gino Vanelli stuff. You know, brother to brother, you know, brother. You know, all that sort of stuff. You know. Yeah. He's great. But I like, you know, for me right now, I'm still looking at the old drummers as well, man. You know, there's modern drummers who, like Matt Chamberlain. I love Matt Chamberlain. You know, I love at the moment Mark Guliana, Juliana. He's fantastic. Chris Dave as well. You know, I mean, them two guys have just took all rules out of drumming now. You know, but the problem is that, you know, no, not the problem. They've gone through the whole you know, jazz and bing, to get to that point to where they are now, to be able to do all them sort of weird drumming things, you know what I mean? But all these young kids are coming up and just watching Chris Dave, so they're missing out that whole section you've got to go through to get to that point, you know what I mean? Because I think, you know, when you start playing Chris Dave grooves, it can throw the bass player off and they just think, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Because you're not doing it right. Chris Dave does it right, Mark Juliana. So it's like, so I suggest, you know, they need to go back and just kind of look at learning how to play drums before they're going to start running, you know what I mean? But man, you know, drumming is what it is, and it progresses, and it's just great to watch all these young kids coming out. Great play. My advice could be you need to get out and play as much as possible. You need to get out and actually meet different people who are not in your circles. You know, I think it's important to just, you know, just network and meet people and just socialise, because, you know, they're like, hey, that guy's cool, you know, he's a good drummer as well, should we call him? Yeah, call him. And then next minute you're in that scene, and then you're in, there's a few different scenes, and it's like, so my advice is just get out and gig, you know, because it's the great thing now is there's a lot of great colleges and universities for music, and which is amazing now, because I didn't really see that stuff when I was a kid. There was a couple, but you know, I just did it in my back room and gigging. So I did the way that all the old guys just did. They just went out and gigged, and that for me is the best learning facility you can get. I mean, it's great to go to college and uni and learn all your things and all that and so, but the thing is, you're mixing with the same guys who are trying to get the same gigs in that college. Again, you got to get out of the college and meet different people. Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's the way how you did it, actually.
Well, I didn't go to college, so all I was doing is just meeting different people, and you know, people speak, and it's just all sort of gets put into place for you, and then bang, you know, you're doing a pop gig or whatever it is, or a top jazz fusion gig. You know, you're doing gigs and stuff gets put on YouTube, and all of a sudden one day, you know, I was just woke up by a phone call from Mark King, which for me was beautiful, because it was like my dream gig. You know, my favourite band when I was a child was Level 42. It was like, that's all I used to practice to. It'd be like with my Dave Weckl and Vinnie Collie with chops, and then it'd be like, right, put the Level 42 records on, you know. And now I'm doing the gig, and it's just like playing with Mark King. Yeah, it's great, man. It's like, that's what put me into music. That's why I started playing bass, because of him, you know. I used to get my dad's left-handed Fender Jazz and turn it the other way, you know, and then start playing the wrong way up, you know. But and it's all from them Level 42 records, so it's lovely to do that gig, you know. And it was just like, as soon as me and Mark played, it was like the perfect glove. It was like, oh, that fits so nice, like, you know, because he was the one that, you know, obviously. So.
But wasn't he also a drummer?
Wicked drummer, wicked drummer, yeah. But that's how it worked, you know, because him and Phil were the drummers on the island, the Isle of Wight, you know, and they was drumming together, and then they had obviously Phil's brother Boone, who was a guitarist, so they used to hang out, and you know, like they do, drummers, and Mike, them knew Mike at Guildhall, and then they just started having a jam one day, and obviously there's only one kit, and Phil's on it playing, and then there was a bass, so Mark he said he picked it up, he put it on his lap, like literally here, you know, and then just started going, and then he started going, oh, you know, so then Mark, he put the bass here and started doing it here. He said he couldn't afford a bass strap, that's why he always had his bass so high, you know, and then he ended up getting working in a music shop as a bass player, and just going, yeah, I'm a bass player, yeah, I can sell basses, and that's how he just sort of got into playing bass, and turns out one of the best bass players in the world. So, you know, I just think it's like, you know, there's an old saying that Steve Gadd said, man, you've got to do it wrong and strong. You know, and it's true. If you you know, you want to get in there, just, yeah, I'll do that, man, you know, and just wrong and strong, man. And he's, you know, a wicked bass player. Yo, what's going on, people? My name's Ray Biggin. I'm the drummer for Level 42, Chaka, a little bit, it's PB Underground. But I just want to say a little thing about speedgig.com. I think it's a great website for musicians to get on there and upload your pictures and bio and all, you know, everything that you want to put on this gig. Because if a band comes to your city and they need that musician and your stuff's on there, you might get the call. So put it on there. Peace.